Alright, welcome back to Laser Talk Podcast. No way. I'm eating lunch. I'm Laser. Oh my god. It was Navi today who brought the idea of comparing how I made my old tracks comparing to how I make them now. I don't think anyone else suggested it, but thank you to Navi for suggesting it, and if anyone else suggested that, oops, my bad for forgetting. So, I made this G-shoot once, like, when I saw, like, Midgar made it, like, a few months ago for him, of every track he's ever made. I didn't, like, actually really fill it out that much, but, like, I'm gonna try to go follow along a little bit. But, basically, my way, where am I? Okay. Why am I not at spawn? What? Anyways, my way of building tracks has, changed a lot, ever since I started, right? Like, my first, like, notable track is Midgar Circuit, and at the time, I was thinking that was a racetrack, and before that, before I made this, there were other tracks, right? But they weren't, like, really made for racing, per se. They were just made for, like, driving. For example, like, Descent, that's obviously not for racing. Like, Laser Medium Course, this is just, like, my first track I ever freaking made. Like, it was just made to exist. But yeah. Then, like, Midgar Circuit wasn't, like, I don't know if it was made to be raced on, but I added things that I thought would be good for racing. And by that, I mean I added split routes, because I thought that would be good for racing. Because I was like, oh yeah, you can't overtake people, so just add split routes, and then you don't have to fall behind people, and then just overtake them, because they don't go the right way. And I didn't think too far into it, and I was just like, yeah, just take the split routes, and that fixed the issue. And oh, how naive I was. No, yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, it was a very different time period. There were less people. There was like, so like, if there was an off-season at the time that I made it, like, the skill gap between drivers would have been, like, pretty big generally. Or at least between the front and the backfield. But, like, for, you know, I guess, like, me versus, like, Renault, like, yeah, no, that would not have known. Like, this would not have worked. If you didn't see the, Winter League's, track choices podcast episode, I went over, all the track choices for the Winter League so far. And I also, I mentioned that, we used CyberWorld 1 over Midgar Circuit, because I was like, I wanted to see this in off-season, I really did. And I was like, I made CyberWorld 1, I made CyberWorld for, like, racing, and we'll get into that. So we should probably use that, right? And that was a great decision. I'm so happy I made the decision. Because this turned out to be a fire TT quality track. Well, okay, people didn't like it at all. And people today still don't really like it, I think. Or at least not as, like, some people like it, but, you know, a good number of people also don't. But, like, most people did not like the track back in the day. I was, like, one of the only people who liked it. But yeah, so, like, the thought process, so, if you didn't know, Midgar Circuit came about because I made a track called Midgar. And that's just, like, it's called Midgar, you can call it, like, TT Midgar Full. Okay, well, it's not TT Midgar Full, but, like, I think, yeah, anyways. It's, like, 6 minutes long. There's a gajillion armor stands here. And, oh yeah, but, it goes, like, all around this map I took from Planet Minecraft of Midgar. And then I was driving it, because I like driving it. I don't know. And then I was like, this bottom section is really fun, because it's really hard, you really have to push, and so on. And I was like, that's just, like, so that's, like, so we got to here, I was like, and this is where the bottom part ends, right? So I was like, let's just, like, block this off and continue, like, this way. And then loop around back to, I don't know, like, the tunnel, I guess. Because the tunnel is, like, where, like, you can go from, like, the top to the bottom, right? So that's just, back to here. And that's how Midgar Circuit was formed. How I made Midgar is that I just chose cool places I wanted to go, and then, like, just use, like, / brush sill, like, brush sill pack dice, like, 4 or something, and then, like, I chose, like, 4, like, a really small brush, because, like, you know, this decoration is really cramped, so I didn't want to do a big road, because then it'd just be, like, there'd be shit all all in the middle of the road and stuff, so like I used a smaller brush. I just went to all the cool places. I went to like here, this is really cool. You know, I don't know why I went all the way over here. I went to the church, then we go to like this area, and then you go to the reactor, right? You know, I guess I didn't just like beeline it straight to it. I went through. We had this like gate thing that we went through. I could have just like straight lined it from here, but I wanted to make it a little bit fun. But, like the whole thought process was different. It was only just like, I want to go here. Let's just make a path here, and like make it like not atrocious. Like let's not like have to like plow through the decoration a bunch, right? I did do that a little bit, like right here. I had to plow through a little bit, like whatever. But so like this approach is very different, right? But then like the first track where I was like, oh yeah, we can race on it, and I was entirely because, oh yeah, just use a split route tool. But then I made CyberWorld 1. CyberWorld was actually, like, so at the time, oh my good lord. Oh well. I'll just, so this came about, oh wait, oh wait, we can just do that. How I got the idea for the CyberWorld gimmick was that I just like had the thought of like, it just came into my mind, right? And that's so like a lot of these like overtaking mechanics and ideas come into my mind. They just like kind of pop in. Some of them I do like brainstorming to like solve problems, but some of them just kind of happen. Like I just think of it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. So I had the concept for the CyberWorld gimmick, and I was like, let's do it. And I tried it, and it wasn't like super like engineered or fine-tuned. It was just like the intersection here is massive, and like I labbed it out. Like I timed all of this with like a handheld stopwatch because there wasn't time system at the time. I had a book of Quill that I would. Is it still hidden here? No. Oh. It might actually be an owl. But like it had like all the data for like I did like 5 trials on both routes. So I was like, oh yeah, like this one's faster, but like, you know, you can block them, and I explained it in that book. Because it was a new concept, right? And there were like way less people, like, you know, people couldn't like all use like lecterns and like read and stuff. No one actually ever read this, but like whatever. But yeah, so like I just like started off immediately with this. And then I was like, okay, then let's add a bunch of fun corners afterwards. Like, that's all it was. It's like, you need to make the straightaway a little bit long. And for the time, this was a pretty wide track. Like, at the time, like, most of the tracks you were racing on were either FC1 tracks, which, to be fair, were massive, or, like, BWC tracks. And you wouldn't use CyberWorld for FC1, so, like, this was, like, it was like, okay, well, we gotta use a BWC, and this is pretty wide for BWC standards, at the time. Like, BWC standards at the time were, like, Julian Coolring and Boingburg Raceway and shit. like really thin. This is pretty wide, so like this was like kind of long straight, you know, by those standards. So it's like long straight. And I also didn't have that much space because of this in there, and I didn't want to like. I was also really shit at World Edit at the time. I don't even know how much at World Edit I knew how to use. Like I knew how to use like brush cylinder, but like I didn't like. Yeah, no. So I didn't like want to move it, and it was a very different. I was way less competent, right? Way less picky and being like, oh yeah, it needs to be exactly like this, and it needs to be like perfect and blah 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 blah. It was like oh yeah, here's a cool track I made, and then I did the rest, and like it was like okay, now I just have to do a few like, you know, interesting corners, of different kinds. So you have like a long like circle turn, followed by like this thing. You don't want to go too wide here, but in your video you have to go to the right, and like you have like this weird like snaking thing where you have to like go on the pack dice. And then this extra little thing, I guess, just because I don't know, and then you're done. It was very different. It was not like each turn had a plan. To be fair, it's not like every turn has a plan nowadays either. But like at least there's like some, maybe probably some motivation behind each turn I do. Well, I mean, I guess you can argue that, you know, oh yeah, I'm doing this turn because turn diversity and stuff. You know, that can be a motivation, I guess. But what I mean is like, there's like an engineered purpose, right? Like, this section's here because we need more difficulty in the track, so we need to make this section difficult, right? That's why this is here. This is here, it's like because we need to complete the loop. We need to go from the end of what I've made to the start of what I made, and like we need some way to connect them, right? That's not, I don't like that reasoning, but like that has to be done sometimes. That's why like the last section of fourth layer is like that. But yeah, it was very different. It was just like, I have a cool idea, I went with that. Another cool idea I had was the CyberWorld edges. How the CyberWorld edges came about, by the way, where that Akira was helping me make a section in WLC. And then he used like another ground, like he went underwater and he used structure voids to like make a with world edit, he used structure voids to like clear out an underwater like area. And then he put like soul sand underneath. And then I drove it, and I was being popped up a bunch. And I was like, wait, what the heck? This is interesting. This isn't normal. Then I didn't have boat cam at the time, so it's accurate. Yep. And then, and I was like, wait, maybe I can use this, right? And then I made a video called "The Solution to Falling Off Edges." I think it's called. Let me see. Solution to falling off edges. And then I explained it here, like, years ago. Holy shit. Dude. Yeah, here's the Akira section. So here's the underwater section. And then, why am I glowing? why am I... so the structure voids, and then you pop up and so, yeah. So, I was like, oh, we can do that with, like, this. So it's not like off-road or wall, it's like a whole new thing. So I was like, let's try that. And we can also add pack dice on the edge, so that, like, you know, if you want to get maximum pack dice breaking, you have to hug the edge. You can't really do that super, I mean, you can do that with, like, off-road or a wall, but, like, now, like, you're hanging your boat off the edge. And, like, that feels different, right? And, like, you know, I was, like, the WLC guy, and I still am the WLC guy, and, like, I love driving, like most of WLC is, like, void edge, like, imagine CyberWorld edges, but, like, without any water or anything. You just fall off, and like, you know, there's no like off-road or wall or anything. So I like driving on like that kind of edge, and that's basically what's going on here. So I was like, let's just do that. So like the two main things about CyberWorld were the CyberWorld gimmick and the CyberWorld edges, right? So like, yeah. But yeah, it was really just like a cool idea. Let's just do it. I didn't like actually lab it out too much. Like, you know, I timed everything with a stopwatch. I only did like a few trials on each side, and like that was it. And I didn't like engineer this to be more good. You know, it's like really wide, and you know, like it's yeah. So that's how that was made. This is like years ago. I don't even know when. Like this is like OS1 days, right? So yeah, and then Oh, Boingburg. Ooh. This was kind of similar. I just took things I thought were cool and I just threw them in the track, and then I just connected the dots. Like, if you didn't know, this gives you like a slime ball that you throw and then it activates this thing, right? Originally, it was not an item. It was just drop on the pressure plates, and then 2 seconds later, it would do the thing. It would like make this blue ice and set up a wall. There was no item. The item was like added like later. After thinking about it, I was like, oh, that'd be cool. Also, this section was like right here instead. It's like way less distance, and you know. So I've adjusted Boingburg a little bit since I made it. No, that's besides the point. So like, it was an idea I thought of, right? Like, what if you had like something that was like, oh, you remove the block stop and you totally destroy them, and then you have a wall tap, and then you can have mind games and blah blah blah. And I'd be like, oh, that's so cool, and I was like, let's do it, and I did it. And it's different time periods, because nowadays, like, using command blocks is not like super, like, I mean, it's somewhat frowned upon, like, I know like FrostX isn't really accepting like really any tracks that use command blocks, right? It's just a different time period. So yeah, and then this is just literally stolen block for block from a priority track, like a priority track. Don't remember which one. I think it's on the server. It's this one. Hey, it's this one. It's this. You do like a cool block stop right here. Nice. And that was cool. This was on the original process, and it was like something in time trial. I think it's that one. I think. I was like, oh, let's add it, right? Yeah. And then I was like, what if you had like a shortcut? I like to deal with like I'm a command blocks guy. I'm a commands guy. I like messing around with that kind of stuff. And then like I was like, what if you gave like a boat no gravity and had a pit, like a fall pit, and then you like had to make them go across, but you take away no gravity really quickly, and I made that. Let me see if I can let me see if I, yeah. So this is what Boingburg looked like at the time, by the way, and also some background for Boingburg. It was initially going to be decorated like Elix forests from Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver, or Gold Silver, Heart Gold Soul Silver. There you go. Oh my god, it's Pond Skip. Oh my god. Yeah. Manual cam, Mac laser, prime laser right there. Oh my god, it's Boat Park. We just talked about that. Mentioned it, whatever. But yeah, so I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, alright, then we just connect the dots. We had like, you know, okay, like a hard braking corner, and then some like some S's, I guess, because that's cool, and then like a 180. And there was gonna be something here for decoration, but then we just never made it. Like from the game that Boingburg comes from, but like we just never made it. And this was also here, by the way, so that you can look behind you and see the people behind you. Something I was like focusing on a good amount back then was like, if you can turn and see the people behind you, so you can get an idea of the gaps behind you. And you can also kind of like look, you can continue like here, you can still see like over there, the people behind you, right? And this was a big deal because at the time there was no like timing system shows you the deltas like on the sidebar, but there was no timing system back then to do that. Like all we had was like at best an R position thing that showed you kind of like that showed you like the order of like the people, and it didn't even show you pits or anything that they've done. It's just like, okay, what place is this person in? So having a spot you can look backwards on was pretty big. That's why that corner was a thing. Block stop, stop and block stop. I don't know what's up with that. I think this was just. Oh, I think this was to reward you for hitting the block stop and not flying wide. And then. So I think I'm looking at now, and a lot more of these corners have a distinct purpose or idea, right? Like, this is like an updated version of Boingburg, so like, you know, block stop, like slime ball thing, or, you know, pressure plate thing, and then set up for the wall, or the block stop that I took from priority, and then rewarding you for block stopping, and then set up for pawn skip, and then pawn skip, and then getting back to the start finish line. I don't know what's up with that. Like, this is like whatever, I guess. It's like just add some corners. It's like, I don't know what to do. And then look behind you and stuff like that. So it looks like there's more thought process on why, because I think it looks like there's more thought process behind the corners I chose to do. And then I think the next is Mementos. But basically, as time goes on, I become more and more focused on like engineering and like engineering exactly what I want, like track to be, and like what I want the track to accomplish and stuff like that. I think. I also focus a lot more on like building the track around the, or like I say building the track around the gimmick. What I mean by that is just like things like, I mean, basically I'd make the gimmick or overtaking mechanic first, and then I'd like add stuff after it, and that's it before it, to like get the entrance and exits down, and then I'd probably like finish the lap by having like a goal lap time to hit, and then like doing some random stuff between them, or like yeah. So like for this, it was like a CyberWorld gimmick but with elevation, where you drop down, and then also mirror split, right? So I did those. I mean, also, if you didn't know, Mementos had like a gajillion routes. Like if you know like TT Paul Ricard, there's like a bunch of like alternate routes that like in real life are used for different things, like like motorcycle racing and stuff like that. And Mementos originally had a bunch, but then I just removed them. I was like, whatever. So for example, a route would come from here, and it, like, you know, I think there was like, I basically copy pasted this term 1 like earlier as well, but I kind of removed the evidence of that. Here's another spot where there's like another route, but yeah. So I made these things, and then I was like, I need a giant straight, and like a CyberWorld gimmick, and then, wait, I don't know, like, I think it was just like, I wanted turn diversity, so I was like, here's like a long left-hander, it's like a, you know, I thought, no, I just thought it was, I think I based this off of something, I don't remember what, maybe I did, I don't know, but I was like, you know, a bunch of low-speed corners, it might have just been to go from here to here, I don't know, you have a chicane, and then you have to go from the chicane to the start of the mirror split, so I did something like this, I don't know, but yeah, so I'm still not like, I mean, it might just be I don't remember why I chose these corners that I did, but, I mean, like, there might have been reasons behind it, like, you know, having turn diversity and what have you, but, like, meh. Let's see, what's next? Midgar Expressway. I don't know if I don't know if I want to, like, go in depth about every track, because that's not the point of the video. The point of the video is to kind of show like how it's changed over time, not specifically talking about every track, so I might skip some. But I want to see if I had thoughts about it. This was originally a boat tap, by the way. The idea was someone goes wide, because like this is the normal route, right? And someone goes wide, and then you boat tap them, because the diagonal straight away, so you boat tap them, you have some velocity going this way. Like their ghost is like right here, so you boat tap them, and this girder was to get in the way of you trying to take the route normally. So you boat tap them, and then you have some velocity, and then you go. And it was also kind of like a CyberWorld gimmick, because then you can, the person who got boat tapped had the chance to go and block. There wasn't no boat tapped. That was the initial idea. I was super naive and had no idea. And this is also to punish people who missed the boat taps. So like if they miss, then they fly into this thing and I get hella punished. And like it was just like, I'm looking back on that, I'm like, bro, what the like, not sad that you're punishing people for trying to use the overtaking mechanic. I mean, at least punishing them this severely, like what the heck? Yuck. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember much about this. I remember just like not liking this track because like this. Oh my god, this track's. Oh my god. I remember not liking this track. Is that red saying that? Oh, holy shit. I think the Altos version I had to fix a lot of this, but yeah. I didn't like it because this didn't work. It didn't really seem like this track did much. I like CyberWorld more because like they had a lot more going for it with the CyberWorld gimmick and stuff, I thought. I like Mementos more because CyberWorld gimmick. I liked Boingburg more because the temple or pond skip and shit. And pressure plate, slam ball thing. Just didn't really have anything going for it at the time, I thought. So that's why I didn't like it. I could try to analyze it. I honestly don't remember why I did the things I did, but like, yeah. So well, I guess I'll just move on. Then what? There was also LCTrack, CyberWorld 2, and then we get on to All Stars, I think. I don't want to talk too much about LCTrack. I don't remember why I just like chose to do the things I did. Not much. But I will say I was looking through the OS2 admin chat a bit just to see if like what I talked about for LCTrack, and I found that like because I remember like there was like this rod blocking to like idea, apparently for no name, and I was gonna try it on LCTrack. But basically the idea was that like P1 goes this way, the fastest route is to go this way, and you like drive like this, and the second that like P2 right behind them was like supposed to go this way, and like hard brake right here and get the rod right here, so that P1 would get stuck on the rod because of lag backs, and then like they get the overtake, like P2 would get the overtake, right? That was the idea. It didn't really work out, like it didn't really work, so we didn't use that for LCTrack. That was like something I remember that I wanted to see if I actually wrote about it in the admin chat. But then I kept scrolling and I was like, wait a second, I forgot. LCTrack had 2 loops like originally. Like there were two loops on LCTrack, which I've forgotten about. I think I was wondering Crafties or whoever probably talked me out of doing this, but like, yeah, there were 2 loops, and I think the deal was like, this loop you're dealing with people like 10 seconds behind you or something. This loop you're like dealing with people like 5 seconds behind you, or or like 15 and like 7, or, I don't know. But like you have a loop to deal with people far away from you, and one to deal with people closer to you, right? So you're like kind of like dealing with everyone on the track, like once a lap, right? It's kind of cool concept. But then they were like, no, and I was like, okay, I'll do this, and then this didn't work, and then eventually I just leaked everything. Like there was, like, look at all the, oh my god. I still do this. I still have backups underneath, like, when I'm like, drafting shit. But yeah, that eventually starts to take shape to what you know. And this is what it eventually kind of becomes like, right? But yeah, so I mean, like, I know this is like a collaboration track between me and Crafties, or it was supposed to be, but then I ended up making most of it, and then, yeah, basically all of it, I think. The loop, so what happened with the loop was that, Priority, again, that guy I also talked about earlier, he had a loop on one of his tracks. And it was like, he was like the first person to do a loop, I think, at least for an isolation track. And I was like, oh, that's cool, and I was like, let me optimize this. So now we're starting to think about optimizing it a little bit, right? Because I was like, you can just like dodge them. Like, what if there was like an incentive? There's like much more chaos if you have a blue ice line that's like the fastest, and then like it's like a game of chicken and like risk reward of like, do I stay on it or do I possibly get bumped, right? We also have a long straight with the line, so they have to like spend a lot of time like on it, right? And also a big thing is that like you enter the loop, it's set up in this way so that the idea was that like when you first enter it, you're mainly blocking people. It wasn't like oh yeah, you can like get driven through and bumped. I didn't think about that. I thought that wasn't really like feasible. I was like, oh yeah, if you're coming through here and you're entering here, you're probably only going to be bumping people, right? And the problem with the priority loop was that like if you're P1, then you can enter the loop for free and then like not get bumped. So anyone behind, like further back in the field, has to deal with like the loop on turn 1 or on lap 1, while the front runners don't. So I was like, let's just like have this where like you enter as the bumpers and then you have to go in as like possibly being bumped, so that P1 and so on wouldn't like get away with it, free map without loop, right? That was the idea. So that's why like you enter like this. That's why it's made like this. So like I was thinking of like, how do I take this idea and optimize it, right? And I eventually did that with CyberWorld 2 as well, which I guess I'll get to eventually. And then I did a bunch of shit. I don't know. Like I showed you like the broad stop thing. I had to have a replacement. So I did the chicane from Mementos that I just literally ripped, and no one says anything. I haven't heard anyone really say anything about how this is the same fucking chicane. It's the same one as like on fucking like Cosmic Ocean as well. Like Mementos chicane, LCTrack chicane, and Mementos from one chicane, Cosmic Ocean from one chicane are like all like the same. but then like I adjust like the apex, and like that's it. Like that's pretty much it. And maybe the entry and exit conditions are a bit different, but like yeah. So because I would think like, oh, I want a chicane, and I'd be like, oh, I have one. I have one on Mementos. Let's just copy that and work off of that. And I'm like, okay, let's work off of it. And I try stuff and like, let's just keep it how it is. Let's just like change, let's make the apex water. I guess you have to like push over the water, but like and that's just it. Let's move on. That's how that happens. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Then you have the loop. I don't know why I did this. Maybe just to make it harder or something. I'm not sure. This was just to reference CGP 360 WhatsApp. Because it was a track that Crafties and I were supposed to be collaborating on. I thought he would like it. And yeah, I think there was like a reason behind Term 1 being like this. I think it was supposed to be like better for race starts or something. I don't remember the reasoning why. I also like, holy shit, this is not smoothed out at all. I don't remember the reasoning. I think for some reason that I thought this would be better for race starts. So it's like, oh yeah, you're thrown right into a thing, and then even though I throw them right into the chain right after, at least you have a turn to like, you know, go wide and let people die on the inside, or you know, I don't know. But yeah, I guess the key takeaway from this is that like I took a concept and I worked to optimize it, right? You can see that as well in CyberWorld 2. CyberWorld 1 and CyberWorld Gimmick had a lot of issues. Namely, like, the road was so wide that you wouldn't even really get bumped. Oh, this is still so wide. Oh my god, that's so wide. What the heck? Anyways, I made it thinner. I also added this curtain thing so that, like, you wouldn't have as much time to react to people being on the road. This is at a time where many maps weren't as common. I think they weren't as common. I also added bump control, which, I mean, by the way, like concepts like bump control and counterplay, like, have been, like, it's not like, oh, there's suddenly entirely new concepts. Like, there have been examples of me doing things like bump control and counterplay, well before, like, I coined the term or whatever, right? Like, counterplay, I coined the term counterplay on Midgar Remake, but, like, you can see counterplay in, like, Boingburg slime ball gimmick, right? That's an example of counterplay. You see bump control here, you see bump control in, CGP that I adjusted the things past, like, there's walls that you have to dodge, and you don't dodge them correctly, then you get thrown into, like, a pit. Like a off-road thing, like, off the line, right? Like, that's another example of bump control. There's also some bump control actually at LCTrack chicane, I think, because then you can't enter like right back here. You have to like re-enter like here. So like the thought was like on my mind, but I didn't think about it too much, right? I didn't also coin it. But yeah, so you know, you need a giant sniper rifle barrel, long straight, because CyberWorld gimmick, like, you need to have a super long straight at the end, like after this, that like the fast route can actually like get past the ghost of the other guy and still like make a faster route, right? You need to use all of that entry speed they had. So like that's so much of the track, so much track is CyberWorld gimmick, right? Like I needed to get like from the intersection all the way out too far enough so that you can at the intersection have a lot of entry speed, right? And then have a giant straight. So like this was like getting there like pretty much as quickly as possible. So again, like it's not like oh yeah, let's just like mess around over here. Like just do like some random corners. It was like, okay, we need to like get from point A to point B quickly. How do I do that straight line? I can also add chicane as a throwback to CyberWorld 1 to make it more difficult as well. Because the fast route should be more difficult, right? And the slow route was like, how do I stall for time and get here in time so that like, and how do I enter here with 0 velocity this way, or with minimal velocity this way, right? So like I'm thinking like, okay, I'm doing this for this reason, right? And like, the exact turns, like, oh, why is just like this much of a turn, like why didn't you like turn less, or you know, whatever, like those specifics like aren't like hashed out, but it's just like oh, I guess let's just make something random, and as long as it like stalls for enough time and you know does what I need it to do, then we're good. And then there was like, you know, this thing is like callback to CyberWorld 1 as well. So like right after the CyberWorld gimmick, there's like a long circle turn. This is also present in Northern Water Tribe, because again, Northern Water Tribe is supposed to be CyberWorld 3. So yeah, I thought it was difficult, like you're really rewarding them for clicking on the inside with the pack dice. And then, yeah. This is also like CyberWorld 1, where it's like just like a hard U thing right after the circle. And we have to go from point A to point B, so I did this. This was like the BCC tuning. I think this probably came after BCC, probably. Maybe, probably. I'm probably getting close to spam turn, aren't I? Is it still here? Oh, he is still here. Hey. Anyways. Yeah. So like, I think this is throwback to CyberWorld 1 as well. Yeah, because it was like supposed to be like CyberWorld 1, but made like but fixing the issues with the CyberWorld gimmick. So there's a lot of similarities of like, you know, this chicane kind of thing, this like turn 1 section, you know, everything after the CyberWorld gimmick, like this turn and like this turn. So it's pretty similar in that regard. Like I had goals, like I was much more engineer-like, with like, I have specific numbers I need to hit, let me make the routes to hit those numbers. Like CyberWorld 1 and CyberWorld 2 is pretty good to compare, because like at CyberWorld 1 I didn't have numbers, like goal numbers to hit, like, oh, like the slow route should be this much slower, but it needs to enter like the intersection this much earlier than this route, so you have this much time to block them, right? I did that math for CyberWorld 2, but I did not do it for CyberWorld 1. So that's a key difference. And like, you know, adjusting the design of the track, like, you know, for example, this long straightaway, to meet those goals and stuff, right? And yeah, so that's pretty big. I think like that period between CyberWorld 1 and like CyberWorld 2 per se, like, was the largest changing period with how I build tracks. Like, I think roughly, like, Midgar Circuit and CyberWorld 1 are like, it's like, I hardly even count those as my track. Like I know, like, you know, I made them technically, but like I was like way different way of thinking. Like, I mean, like, even like right now, like the current Laser Thoughts only track IMO is like Midgar Remake, at least for racing. Like that's like the closest track I've released so like right now that like represents how I currently think as a builder. Midgar Circuit and CyberWorld 1 are way further away than CyberWorld 2, Mementos, Boingburg, right? Those are closer to current laser, but those are not like that close, right? Like we still have like Northern Water Tribe, Cosmic Ocean. Those are a lot closer to current laser, for example. Yeah. Yeah. So then, Midgar Sewers is literally just CyberWorld 1, but mirrored, but also we removed this route. Like, this route was only used for quality, which is kind of weird. Like, you have like a different layout for quality than race. It's like pretty weird for like you could do that today, but it's like definitely not a common thing. Like in GWC back then, for a race day, there was a quality track and a race track. There were two different tracks, and like you qualify on one track and you race on the other track. Now it's just like show off more tracks, right? Which I think is, you know, valid. It's a bit like competitively, like the point of quality IMO is like to set the grid based on who's supposedly the faster driver, right? So, you know, you might be faster on one, like, the quality track compared to the racetrack, so it might not really work out for, like, that idea of quality. I'm gonna, anyways. I was like, oh yeah, this section doesn't really do much for racing, so let's just remove it and lower the lap time, so you spend more time on the CyberWorld gimmick, right? That was, like, kind of the idea. I don't think I really thought the CyberWorld gimmick worked. You know, I added the blindfolder thing, right, from CyberWorld too. But I was like, Yeah. Yeah, that's all I really want to say about that. And then we hit All-Stars era, and that's like... I say that because, like, I started making, like, 3 tracks kind of, like, all at once. Like, I made 3 tracks and then I released them, like, all. It was, Northern Water Tribe, 4/3 Concentration, right? And how I made those was I had a list of overtaking mechanics and gimmicks and stuff like that that I wanted to use. And I chose from those with, choosing which would work best with which. Kinda. Maybe not what would work best with which, but like what I wanted to use with other ones. I wanted the track, I wanted CyberWorld 2, I wanted CyberWorld 3 to have the Boingburg shortcut. I was like, yo, what if you had like CyberWorld 2? Like, what if there was like a third CyberWorld, but it also had a shortcut? Wouldn't that be so cool? And then see my rant video of the War Tribe Temple Ship. Thanks, Laser. Yeah, so, like, nowadays Laser is like, you know, different mindset than back then Laser, right? So, we can talk about the War Tribe, I guess. For some reason, like this is like around the time where like launchers were starting to become a thing. We used the launcher for Off-Season 2 Hell, which is like Mariana Valley, but like with no extra stuff, like a different pit lane and a launcher, and mirrors and different decoration. Well, essentially Mariana Valley. We used a launcher there. There's a launcher with PB52. And it was like, for some reason, I was like, yeah, but it'd be cool if like the track was just good enough in a way, so that like you didn't need a launcher, and that like you could just like some of the track was just good enough to have a good race start on, and that decision has haunted me because like it's just like this section is just so easy, like nothing really happens on it. Like I guess it's okay for race starts, like I guess. Don't talk to Crafties about what happened in All Stars right here, but like I guess, but like I think it'd be well worth it to use a launch instead and use this for something more difficult, right? Nowadays, that's what I would think. Because I've focused more towards making the track difficult as well. Because, like, I think I focused a lot on gimmicks and stuff back in the day. Like, just look at Boingburg, bro. But, like, I didn't focus that much on difficulty. I think something Nuno said or did, like, made me realize, oh yeah, difficulty is kind of really important, huh? Like, I think I thought about it. Like I look at Mementos, I'm like the mirror split was like clearly meant to be like difficult, but I think that was more for the sake of like the functionality of the mirror split, right? Like if you go to Mementos, the idea was like, okay, if someone goes right in front of you, you go left, and then it's difficult so that they're gonna make a mistake, or they could make a mistake, they could make a mistake, and then you're hold on. Cool. And then like you're not right behind them, so when they make a mistake, you're not there to bump off them, right? So like it was difficult just to make this gimmick idea work, not for the sake of like making the track more difficult, right? And you can tell that wasn't on my mind here either, because like if that was, then I wouldn't have done this. I would have done a launcher, because I think I would have done a launcher. But yeah, so then I made a change to the CyberWorld gimmick because I was like, like, I don't even know why I did, like, I was like, oh yeah, let's like have a wall tap so that like, I didn't want the lines to cross over. Which they didn't in CyberWorld 1, CyberWorld 2, so I don't know why I had to do it like this for this, but like, I was like, oh yeah, if I do like a wall tap that's like just off the line, then you don't have to have the lines overlap, so like, you know, someone going to the left wouldn't block someone going straight, right? I don't know. That's what I was thinking. What is bra? Why? Is this some Paris now? Okay, good. So that's when, like, that wall tap there. And I was like, again, I was like, oh yeah, I want the Boingburg pawn skip, but without those command blocks. So that's how this is the same thing. Outside wall tap, difficult thing, and then I guess let's have like an exit route. And I wanted the exit speeds to be the exact same speeds. Like when you hit the start finish line, you're only going the same velocity this way, so to lower bump chaos, right? And this was like when like bump control started to like really enter my mind. If you look at like College of Ocean, I think that's like the first track, at least that like I know of, that like really started trying to use bump control. Like you got bump control here, got bump control here, and there's a bunch at purple section. Is it good bump control? Not really. Like I've never seen anyone take this route. Also, albeit I've never seen anyone take this route or this route. But like, yeah, they're there, I guess. Well, I might have seen someone go through here, but I've seen a lot of people fly here because you know they get bumped right here, and I've seen a lot of people fly here, which is, you know, that's sure. If you ask draftees, he's gonna say, oh yeah, but then you re-enter with no speed. And then I get upset, and I'm like, well, yeah, but like, how else are you supposed to do it? And then current laser is like, well, yeah, but you could probably figure out a way to fucking do it, you numbskull, like this. Like, right? So like, to be fair, at the time, bump controls are pretty like new, conscious, like, this is what we should do, like, thing. But yeah, so I started adding bump control. There's some like right here as well. And then yeah, and I was like, this is boat tap. I was thinking about last night. I was like, why did I think about this? Like, because I was like, I know that the CyberWorld gimmick just kind of popped in my head, and I think like the Boingburg stuff kind of just popped in my head as well. I don't remember why I thought of the boat tap. It might have been Hiccup, honestly. Like, is it pretty ring? God, no. Hold on. There's like some... Yeah. I think it's like, what, like right here? I know something happened here. Like, I know like at least, there's like, back when there was boat lag, like I wall tapped and someone's rod was right here, and then like I, boat lagged back to like right here, so I got like, essentially like, I teleported from here to here after wall tapping. So I saved time, and I thought it was pretty cool. I know that happened, but I also might like boat tapped just on some LCTrack or something. There's some other track with like grass, like very no decoration, but like it was like I probably can't. Like it's like there was grass at boat height, and like you're on the road, and like it was like very no decoration, but it was like somewhat wide. And I got some boat taps there. Nothing that actually amounted to like much. But like, I think it got like a double boat tap that eventually got me an overtake. But like, I started to think about overtake somehow. I'm not entirely sure. And before you ask, no, it was not from Valkahala. I don't think I think Valkahala came after. Like, I at least know College of Ocean was starting to be mid before Valkahala. So it's not that. Even though they're eerily similar. I'm not entirely sure how that happened, but... Even both use a wait, I know Valhalla RB is like a MOI, but I don't know. No, Valhalla Original does not use a MOI, but yeah. The idea was like, okay, we want them to hit the ghost. So how do you line it up as easy as possible to hit the ghost? Well, we're gonna want the ghost to kind of stay at the same spot for as long as possible. So that's like just making them drive in a straight line. And then like the ghost is gonna hover like right here, and then we have to make sure they don't fly wide, so we're gonna add some blue ice to incentivize them to stay on the inside, right? So like I'm starting to think like engineering brain, right? And it's like, okay, and then you have a wall tap to help set it up, so like we have, you know, we're giving them incentives to do exactly what I want, right? And then, you know, it's super easy. Like, you don't even have to aim. You can just drive straight and you'll hit the boat tap, right? So like that's how I made that. Then like the mirror split was like, okay, this is like Mementos mirror split. And do it again, and then like have these alternate routes in case, because like, you know, this is like after CGP Adams thing, right? There's like, and that was pretty big because it brought into my head, just like, okay, what happens if someone goes slow in front of you, or even like not even just trolling, but like what is go slow in front of you? What do you do? Like through like really thin sections. So like, okay, this is an alternate route where it's like a little bit slower, but you can call out if the person in front of you is going to mess up or be a troll or whatever, right? And you have two of them, like one for each like really thin part, right? And that's if they take the same, you take the same one that they take for some reason, right? You have these alternate routes. I have never seen anyone take that. Like, maybe like a quick race, I might have taken one of these. I don't even know. Wait, no, I don't even know. But yeah, no. So, yeah. And add to these that I think if you take one of them, you lose half a second, but if you take both, you lose like a second and a half or something like that. I think that's how it was. So it was like, it was taking into account like how much time you lose by taking this alternate route. So I'm thinking a lot more engineering-like, right? And then I put the plate right after because like your exit speed from this section affected how far you fell into the plate. And then if you have no reference, then like you can't rely on you having the same entry conditions every single time because you might not have the same exit conditions of this, because you're going to have, like, if you do this a little bit slower because it's difficult, then, you know, you have different exit speed, which means you have different entry speed into here. So that's why I put the plate right here. Yeah. Then I needed to go from some way from, like, the plate to the boat tap, so I had, like, again, the Mementos chicane with different apex, and then, an easy, like, left or right-hander, sorry, and then into, like, a wall tap, right? To again make it a very big, easy incentive, just like hit the wall tap head on. I needed some way to go from here to the purple thing, so there's just the two 90 degree like right-handers, right? Like, yeah, really simple. So that's how that happened. So like I have ideas, and then like I'm kind of synergizing with them well. Like I did like the mirror split difficult thing, synergizing with the plate, right? For example. I don't think that's much of a trend though, right? Like I don't. Meh. I mean, I was talking about fourth layer. Fourth layer was just me being delusional. Wow, I was talking about fourth layer. Fourth layer was the loop from the LCTrack, or really just, it doesn't have to be from LCTrack, it was just like a loop, right? And also carpet thing. I chose the LCTrack loop because in my mind it was already like an ideal loop, right? You had like the no lap 1 P1 advantage of, you know, like there being no one on the loop to get bumped by, right? Because again, I want to reiterate, in my head, I was thinking that if you're entering the loop, you can't get bumped. Like I thought it was like not really possible for you to, like very no chance of like the timing happening where, I mean, there was also boat lag, right? That's also a thing. Like where you enter right when someone's rod goes, like, dodges your boat, but also between your boat and rod and boat. Like that timing seemed like really small to me, so I didn't think it was like actually an issue. And there was also boat lag, so you'd have to get through the boat lag to drive through you. So like I didn't see that as an issue. So like I wanted to again get rid of like that advantage that P1 and P2 had of like not having to deal with anyone on the loop on lap 1, because then you come around and then there's gonna be people back here that you bump into on lap 1, right? So you have that. You have like the long blue ice incentive, really thin thing. So like in my head it was like, this is like already ideal. I was like, let's just like use it again. Like it's like, I'm not gonna make it better. Like I didn't see any any value in changing it just for the sake of changing it. not for the sake of it being different. I was just like I'm just gonna like spend time making something that's like could just be worse. Like it's just like use the same thing. It works fine. And then people were like, "Oh my god, this is just LCTrack," and then I was like, "Bro, like everything about the track except the loop is like entirely different from LCTrack. What the fuck are you on? Oh my god." Yeah. And I added this thing because I don't know. Oh no, it was because also like I said with like the configuration, like the Atom OS2 thing on TGP was like, okay, if you have a really thin section, I want there to at least be an option, so you don't have to like go that way. So that is something I learned and have been doing since like for green greens. I'll get to that. I do something similar in green greens that no one uses, but whatever, it's there. Yeah, and then some of these corners I got. Okay, so if you didn't know, the why is this blue ice but this all checkerboard? Well, it's to incentivize you to hug on the right. Why do you want to hug on the right? The idea was that you can tell that anyone you pass by on this double straight is you're going to be around at the loop. And that goes for if you're going on this side, anyone you see on this side is going to be around you on the loop on your first loop, and then anyone who you see on this side while you're driving on this side is going to be around you on your second loop, right? That was the idea. So that's why it's like this. I don't know if people did that. Like, to be fair, I didn't even like mark out where, like I was supposed to like mark out, okay, yeah, if both of you drive well enough and nothing happens to you between now and then, at, like, for example, this location, if, like, you, like, drive right next to someone right here, then you're going to collide on the loop entry, for example, right? I was going to mark it out, but I just never did it. Like, mark out that location. But yeah, so that's why that's like that. I needed some way to if you didn't know, by the way, fourth layer was supposed to be, I was like, I'm going to make a track for BCC. And I was like, I'm also going to make it good for high-level racing. And I was like, okay, let's make a loop, because then imagine there being a loop in BCC, right? It'd be like, there's already people everywhere, but now, like, I'm making you interact with, like, even more, there's going to be, like, a higher density of players right here. That, to be fair, that is crazy. But then I wasn't thinking at the time, like, currently, like, me right now is like, that's dumb. These players, like, there's so many newbies in BCC, they're not going to know what to do here. So you're just throwing them into that. And you're also just throwing them into, like, under carpets, and they're just going to absolutely die and not have a good time. So that's what current laser thinks. But, like, you know, past laser was not thinking about that. It was like, oh, that synergy does really well, because there's going to be so much chaos, and that's, like, good. And I was thinking about synergy. And that was also, like, why we put these tracks in the specific round 3 race modifiers. Like, this was an endurance race because, like, you have more time to see different people in loop, for example, and it's longer and there's more people. Because British was a blind race because the pit entry on the plate, they had less time to practice the purple section, and then something about, like, seeing if they would recognize the boat tap, but, like, now that I think about it, it's like, well, fucking course they would. Like, I mean, like, no one was probably thinking about it at the time, but, like, it might have just happened eventually. Like, it might have just happened, and they're like, oh, wait, that's a thing, and then they start thinking about how to use it and, like, try to aim for it. I think that was something I was, like, focusing on. I think that was, like, another reason why it was like, oh, this is the blind race. And then the rest is history, yeah. But yeah, fourth layer failed on, like, all accounts. Like, it's, like, for the reasons I've explained, it's not good for BCC, let alone how, like, you know, I mean, at the time, there was only, like, 1 or 2 BCCs done, so I was like, I mean, and we weren't talking about using different tracks, but then, like, I mean, now everything has been, like, the same freaking city thing, decoration, so this would not have, like, fit, like, this isn't Purdue, and it isn't the city, what the heck, like, right, but I didn't think that mattered at the time. I was like, I'm gonna make something cool. I'm gonna make it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be awesome. So it failed on that, and it failed at being good for high-level racing because it's just too easy. It's like too wide, right? Like, there's no, like, solid overtaking mechanic. You have to rely on someone getting killed by the bump, or by this, or someone messing up on their own accords here, right? Like, that's it. Like, it's, like, a long track, and, like, yeah. So, I failed on both goals, so I don't like this track very much. Fourth layer GFR works okay because you remove the loop and you remove the carpets, and then, like, it's okay for, like, newbie racing, because, like, now they don't get confused with the loop. This good decoration. This giant furnace, oh my god. It's pretty wide. There's some corner variety. There's some tuning stuff going on, you know, so it's fine for, like, newbies racing, right? But, like, yeah. So those are the All-Stars tracks. The Midgar Expressway AS changes were suggested by, like, I think mainly Lapis and maybe Jelly. Like, I was like, let's make the lap time longer, so let's just make this a loop to make the lap time longer. I think that was the main thing. I also went around and fixed decoration for a bunch of places. And then also, like, no blocks up. Yeah. I didn't really actually, like, do that much for this track, I think. Yeah. And then we come to more present day, which is, like, the only other tracks I've really made, besides, like, Mementos Blue, or, like, adjusting existing tracks, are, like, Green Greens and Midgar Remake, right? And Green Greens was, like, in my brain, it's not here, L7. In my brain, it was, like, that's when I started thinking about, like, difficulty and stuff, right? Like, the track has to be difficult. So then I was like, alright, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have this track's code name for a long time, like, the code name for, like, while it was in development was D3. Because I was like, okay, there's three things I want to focus on. An overtaking mechanic, right? So boat tap. A difficult, like, the track needs to be difficult, or at least have one section that's difficult, which is this, and it needs to have a good race start. And then that was the launcher. So I have to cover those three things. And I did D because, changing D, like, I was initially, like, planning on making it, like, DD's castle, but then, like, the decoration was, like, just, like, there wasn't, it didn't seem like I could do much with it, so I just decided to do, like, Green Greens instead, because it's also from Kirby. I don't know. But yeah, so, like, I was really focusing on those two things, and I still kind of do focus on that. Like if I do track reviews, it's like overtaking mechanics, difficulty, race starts, and I also talk about pit entry and exit. That's, like, kind of part, like, bump control. Like every track has a pit entry and exit. So, like, that's something I can judge about bump control. Like, not many tracks have bump control, or at least at the time, not many tracks have bump control. More and more tracks are having it, but, like, you know, but every track has a pit entry and exit, so it's something I can comment about. But yeah, and then I was also, like, Lapis was, like, brought up the idea of, like, well, if you use a CyberWorld gimmick in, like, one turn, there's, like, no split routes, and, like, I was like, okay, let's try it. And then I tried it, and it was like, it only works from while you're in tandem, which I currently don't really like, because, like, the main, like, one of the main, like, things you're trying to deal with high-level racing is how do you overtake someone from while behind them, right? At least get into tandem with them, and that doesn't solve the issue, right? But I mean, I don't know, like, we haven't seen much, like, we still haven't seen much explored of, like, breaking tandem. We've seen a lot of ways to get into tandem, be it boat taps, maybe not several gimmicks, DRS, both the 2.8G version and, like, whatchamacallit version, like, time system, whatever version, and so on. But we haven't seen many ways to break tandem other than, like, just being faster. And, you know, that might be good enough, right? Well, yeah, like, the faster driver should win the tandem anyway, right? but like the whole idea of like things to break tandem hasn't been explored. Like for example, if two people are in tandem, like driver A and B knows that they're getting outpaced by driver A and they can't hold on much longer, they can go for a CyberWorld gimmick here to block driver A to break the tandem and then end up ahead in that way, right? Like that, like stuff like that hasn't been explored much, even today, I think. Yeah, so like I was thinking like D3, like these three things. And I also like really heavily focus on bump control. This is like the first track since Cosmic Ocean. I made since Cosmic Ocean, I think. So it's like super bump control brained. And you might have heard me say, I hate the bump control on green greens. Like so much of it doesn't work. Like the CyberWorld gimmick bump control does not work. Like you get sent into it, but you don't get sent far enough. So like most people, basically everyone just like drives right back on, and it's terrible. Like holy fuck. And I was like, at the time it was like bump control was such a new thing that like it was like and that's another reason I chose green greens. Bump control was such a new thing that we were concerned. I think McCusen was primarily concerned, but I was also a little bit concerned about people seeing this. Imagine if this was no like if you look up like at here from above, it's like it's kind of crazy what's going on. Like there's like what's even going on here? Like why is there ice here? Why is there ice like on these alternate routes? Like is this fast? Like it's like oh yeah, you like jump the inside and it's faster and like, oh wow, like they'd be confused. So an idea was brought up, like or as I brought up, I thought of the idea. Let's use something like this to make it harder to see the alternate routes, right? Or like the bump control routes, rather. So they can focus on the unobstructed main road and understand this is the main road. But then, like, these routes can still function if needed, right? So that's why there's grass everywhere, and that's why I was like, I wasn't able to think of like a way to integrate D&D Castle into decoration while also doing that. Like, I was able to do this with grass. I was like, oh, green greens. But yeah, so like it's the overtake mechanics are here, and there's a gimmick or something like right tandem thing here. I'd call it a gimmick at the time. And there's also this thing, right? So you go from the boat tap right into this thing, and you'll notice this is an alternate route, and everyone's confused about what it does. And this is literally just because the Atom OS2 thing on CGP. It's like they're just like, this is a thin section, and if someone's trolling through here, you can absolutely get your shit kicked in. So we need to have an alternate route, just because Atom did that one thing that one time, so that's cool. And like, yeah, no one ever takes this route, and like, it's just like, well, it's here, it's here. So you'll see lessons I've learned. I implement them in my tracks, right? Like I develop them over time. This was also kind of an attempt at counterplay. It was a really shitty one, and it wasn't thought out very well. But it was like, I mean, the main wall tap's here, but like if you know someone's gonna try to boat tap you, you can like slightly adjust where your boat is by going for this one. It's a little bit slower, but at least they won't boat tap you. And that was the idea. But then like it was like I have never seen anyone actually use this, and I don't even know if it really would work. It probably is reactable, and it's like really easily reactable. I also have the idea of different pit lanes. So you have the standard pit lane, you have like the Monza-like pit lane where it's just like a Joker lap, like based on difficulty, and you also have this pit lane that we've never used once. That's just faster, right? And this isn't the first time there's a pit that's faster than like driving a normal road. Like I think one of the first, if not the first track I saw was like made by Fantasy. It's like some underwater track. I don't remember what it's called. But yeah, we never use this, which is kind of sad. Underexplored thing, concept, I think. But yeah, so like I focus a lot more on bump control from here, and I learned from this track a lot about bump control, because how I tested it is I had like walls that I'd put down. Like I had like a bunch of V's, and like 90-degree V's right here, and I would just drive into them and see how far I went, and if I didn't go far enough to naturally just like end up here, I would like adjust the off-road and try again. And I'd do that, and there was like 50 V's or something going all the way through this way, and Jolly helped me remove the V's between trials. I was like, okay, remove that, I'm gonna do the next one. But I learned that's a terrible way to test bump control, because I know I'm gonna get bumped, so I'm gonna react differently. People's first instincts when they get bumped are to drive right back on track. So you need to have bump control that forces them to not be able to do that, or accounts for them doing that anyways, right? So that's what I learned from this track. I also heard criticisms, and I kind of agree with them, that like the track is super, like there's so many straightaways, like there's this thing, like this is like, the S is like, you can basically straight line this, and that was intentional. It was just like, for the CyberWorld game, we either could just do a straight line again, like CyberWorld 2, or we can have some, you know, S's that like, it shakes things up a little bit, right? It's like dodge while also going through the S's and stuff like that. So that's why that's like that. But then you have this like super long straightaway, setting up, killing all your speed here. Like, to be fair, that was like put to a good cause, because of like, you know, at least you can like boat tap and stuff like that. But like, you know, yeah. And there's some bump control here, and then more bump control, and like it's bump control everywhere. And you have a difficult thing, but then, you know, eventually it's like a long turn and another long straight, right? Like there's like 3 long straights at least on this track. It's like long straight kind of things, right? So like the only difficult part of the track is here, and like the whole rest of it is like free wall taps, or like an easy turn, and like this turn's like kind of hard, I guess, yeah. But like, so like I mean, at least I had like this one difficult section, sure. I think it's good to at least have one hard section of the track, but ideally you'd have more of it be difficult. That's my current way of thinking. Which brings us to Midgar Circuit. Brings us to Midgar Remake. And this is the closest, this is the most recent track I've made, and it's the closest to my current way of thinking about tracks. You have bump control that's non-reactable. Like, if you just hit this, you're already facing this way, so you just climb up here, and then you're already on the route, right? If you fall into, like if you miss a wall tap over here, like if you hit this, you're falling into a route, and you have no say in it. You're going down there, and you can't, like, it's not even like, oh yeah, let me drive back on the track. Bro, there's a wall. You can't climb up the wall, like, right? So I learned my lesson from Green Greens and applied it immediately. You can't react to hitting this wall. So you just get thrown into here, and then you, okay, it's like, okay, fine, I'll drive forward. You're already kind of facing that way, right? Stuff like that. What else I learned from Green Greens? What I just said about, like, at least one difficult part. This has at least one difficult part. Like, this has the ending section, of course, right? And also, honestly, like, this starting section, at least the first set of bits is, like, hard. Like, both of them are hard. The second set is, like, not nearly as hard, I think. This isn't really easy, I'd say. It's surprisingly more easy than I thought. Like, I remember that, like, this is just, like, a classic thing that I've done in a lot of tracks now. Like, even in, like, TT Hour Spot. Like, this, like wall tap into, like, chicane thing. Which originates from Midgar Remake. And this isn't too hard either. Well, it's pretty precise, because, like, I make it so you have to, like, really hug this side. Like, if you're, like, a little bit to the right, then you take a lot back to this, right? And I also made it so that, you don't have too much time to, like, line up straight to get down this straight before you have to start turning in for this, right? I made the spacing pretty awkward. Yeah, I think it's a very clear, like, new way of thinking about bump control of, like, you have to send them into it before they can even react. Or play to how they react to your favor. I don't know if I have any examples of that, where it's, like, people reacting to, like, messing up or getting bumped, and then, like, using their instinct, like, factoring in their instinct to how they use the bump control. I don't think I have any examples of that. I don't even know if I did that on this track, but, yeah. Yeah, and then, you know, we still have the launcher. still don't know how to do how to engineer restarts. I don't even know what I want. But it's, you know, fairly easy. There are a few choke points, I guess, but it's not like, the road's pretty wide, pretty low tempo. You have options, kinda. And you do that so that we don't have to, unlike Northern Water Tribe where we sacrifice some of the track, like the main road that I'm going to be driving like 20 and 30 laps on, instead of sacrificing that road, you have something that you drive on once, barring pit lane, or like, because the pit lane makes you drive on the launcher for this. Yeah, and like another thing, like, there was no incentive for people to practice the Monza pit on green greens. But I was like, that's a idea. Let's make the pit lane the launcher, so that, you know, there's another reason to practice it, because now you have to do it for the race start, and also for the pit lane, right? So there's two reasons why you should practice this. And I think we saw some people practice it, in some, I think. I didn't even talk about Green Green's launcher. Yeah, I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to. And I was just like, I still don't understand race starts. I don't know what I want. I don't know what my goal should be. Or I kind of know what my goal should be, but I don't know, like, exactly how I want to do it. Like, I know, like, the goal is to, like, spread people out before they hit the main road. But I don't know how fast I want to spread them out. Because if you make it, like, you know, difficult and chaotic, then they spread out really quickly, because people get bumped and lose hell of time, and they get spread out really quickly, but, like, you know, they're getting bumped, and they might lose positions, and it might be really chaotic. But if you make it really easy, like the one on Midgar Remake, I don't think the field spreads out that much. It might spread out a little bit, but not that much, right? So I don't know what kind of balance I want. On Green Greens, I was like, let's give them like a bunch of routes so they don't have to even deal with people. Like, you can, there's so many routes through here that you can, like, everyone can, in theory, take their own different route, not have to deal with anyone. It's on diagonal, which means that if you are following someone and you do, like, hit something, odds are they're going to fly out of the way, right? Because they're on a diagonal. And like, that was the idea behind the launcher. And it's a very crazy launcher. Like, I haven't seen anything like this since Green Greens. And people take it as a joke, but it really was an honest attempt at restarts. And like, I just, like, because I just didn't know what I wanted. Like, I still don't know what I want. So it's like an attempt at, like, trying to be like, okay, I think I want this, I think this will work, so let's try this. And then, like, yeah, no. And then we were too chicken to use it for pie. And then people thought it was a side thing. And then, yeah, no, this is always meant to be, like, the main way how you start the race when you're in greens. But, oh well. Whatever. But yeah, so Midgar Remake happens. And, you know, the track is pretty difficult throughout. It's not like this one section is difficult. I mean, this one section is, like, notably difficult. But, like, you know, the rest of the track isn't really easy either. We saw, like, people mess up this. We saw some people, I think, bump here. Yeah. We saw, I think, some people fall here, maybe. And, of course, yeah, there's also, like, according to term, bump control, or, not, sorry, counterplay here. And I, like, made an effort to, like, be like, here's how it works. And this is something like we can do on, like, really any track with any overtaking mechanic, or really just anything. You can have counterplay, like, give P2 options and track P1, and then give P1 options to respond back, and have mind games and stuff, right? Which, again, like I said earlier, is not new. You saw it in, like, Boingburg with the slime ball stuff. Yeah. So, as making this is meant to be Midgar the Big Red Pie 2. Because I thought it was good, like, I thought it had potential, but I removed, like there's a boat tap that just, like, didn't really work that well, so I was like, let's just, like, fix the boat tap, and then, like, I was like, okay, let's do this whole new boat tap idea, but then, like, that, like, destroyed the layout, and I was like, alright, let's just, like, make a whole new last section of the track. like everything from here on is, like, new, right? Yeah. So, like, these were included because it was, like, in the original track. It's also like they're also pretty difficult, which is good. This I thought was difficult, and then afterwards is not too difficult. It's still a little bit difficult on the Big Pie. So the wall tap thing is here, and then this is okay-ish. Then like this apex is scary. You turn left here, and then like this isn't too hard. This isn't too hard. Yeah. So I removed what I thought wasn't like really useful and put in like the boat tap thing, and then also like the last section, which is just like made just to be difficult. Well, I mean, okay, so I had the exit of the boat tap section. I need to connect the exit like from here to the start line, and then I was like, well, actually, the start finish rate like is originally like supposed to be like just like a straight line here. Like if you look at like Midgar Circuit or Midgar Big Pie, like this is supposed to be turn 1, but on this track it's a final turn of the track. Here's the start finish line. So initially it was supposed to like, connect like over here. I also had a certain nap time I wanted, but I was like, what if I made like a difficult section that like was a little bit longer, right? But then I can like make it more difficult, right? And I'm glad I did it. Because if it didn't have it, this last section, it would still be a moderately difficult track, but it wouldn't be that difficult. But now, like, now that this is here, it's a lot more difficult, right? So, we went from, what was on here? Well, let's see. We went from, like, wait, actually, this kind of poetic, or not poetic, but, like, it's kind of funny. Is Midgar Circuit on here? No. We went from, like, Midgar Circuit, for me, just, like, going from point to point on a map I downloaded from Planet Minecraft to places I thought were cool, and I had split routes and was like, oh yeah, it's good for racing, to now changing the track with boat details, making it bigger, and, like, engineering it to be much more suited to racing. And that's Midgar Remake. Yeah, so that's kind of how things happened, I think. That's how, like, my thoughts and priorities changed over the years. Yeah. Hope I'm not forgetting anything. I can't wait to have actually just completely forgotten the track. And then clearly I don't care for the track that much, huh? I mean, it's also, like, not factoring in, like, the tracks I helped adjust. Like, I helped adjust CGP OS 2. I helped give people advice on various tracks. I made adjustments to Boingburg. I redid Watercraft Pebble skip a lot. Mementos Blue, for example. Just other stuff. These are just like main track releases that I talked about. But yeah. So that took a while. Oh, shit. An hour and a half? Oh, hour 20. Okay, well, the idea was I normally just sit and watch YouTube videos or something while eating lunch. So I was like, since I can't use my hands that much, may as well just like talk into a microphone, but I mean, maybe take way longer than normally eat lunch. So that's cool. I just finished. But yeah, that's that. Hopefully that was entertaining. I don't know where I'm gonna go forward with track building now. Cause like, this is the last track I built, and this was released like 7 months ago. And like, I'll be real, like, these past 7 months I haven't had like really any motivation to make more racetracks. I tried trying to make one, actually, like about a month ago, but I kind of phased out of it. So, yeah, I don't know. I probably will make more, but I'm not sure. I mean, it's kind of rough, because like Midgar Remake had such good reception, like everyone seemed to like it, like immediately, like the highest rated track for like, you know, my like ranking forums like ever by a long shot. It does all the things I set out to do, like, you know, counterplays built in, has a like boat tap that works, has good bump control, it's difficult, right? I pretty much checked all the boxes. Just like, you know, every single track I was like, you know, I've tried to like introduce new ideas I thought were good. I've tried to make every track better, but now it's like there's this giant wall I have to overcome. If I want to make a track that's better, so I'm trying to convince myself to not even try to climb the wall. Like, don't even try to beat this. Like, just like at least make your next track just like not even, but like just like hell, you just release a track that's like not good, and at least it's not like, you know, oh yeah, this next track has to be even better. You know, it's like, you know, just to help try to relieve pressure from myself. But I don't know. I also don't know if I want to make a track that like I don't like I don't feel good about, you know. So yeah. Okay, well, I hope that's everything. I hope that helped. I hope that's what like Navi and Flip were like hoping here. Basically, I went from not knowing what I was doing to having clear, established ideas of what I wanted to do, having practices of like, all right, here's how I, like, you know, lab this out. I call it labbing, which is funny because there's this thing called boat labs, which is like, they're not related at all. Like, labbing, the term labbing I took from like fighting games where like they lab out combos and stuff, like practice and try new combos and stuff. That's where it comes from. That's where I got it from. But, you know, I have like spreadsheets now. Oh yeah, back to the Index Forest thing. That's why this is called Index Forest. This has like everything, like all of like my like labbing stuff, like everything. And it's because this spreadsheet was initially for just Boingburg, or, you know, at the time Index Forest. So that's, if you didn't know that, that's why it's called Index Forest. Or my mega labbing spreadsheet thing. Yeah, so I, like, yeah, I mean, okay, sorry. And as for how I make the, like, how, like, I place the ice, it has changed over time, right? It's like a Midgar Circuit. Well, Midgar Circuit was a bit of a, it was a bit of a different one. I didn't normally use, like, brush cylinder. That's how a lot of people were doing it at the time. So it's like, I was like, it'll probably work better than my preferred method at the time, which was carrot stick, which is how I made CyberWorld 1. We'll just go to Midgar Sewers. Basically, it's a command block system that I made that, like, you can just toggle on and off a brush that places road underneath your feet. So you can just, like, fly around and it'll, like, put, like, road underneath your feet. Which is why so many of my tracks have, like, center lines. If it's a center line, odds are I use carrot stick to make it. Like this, I did with carrot stick. Although I actually removed the center line for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, then what should we call it? I eventually started using like for our spot, it's not on here. Server build. I don't know if I should show it. Hold on. Server build. Yeah, cool. Let's see our spot. Ah, okay. Oh, that's an old Bob chunks. Like, I'd use like cell convex and like do like a path, like such as curve, curve. That's something I would do. Or I can sometimes use cell poly and do like the outline of the track, and then it's like make the track like cell poly, and I go like this, and then I'm like, okay, I need like a corner like this. This is something I still do. Something like that. Because like some people are like really like, oh man, the track has to be exactly this wide throughout the whole thing, because it has to be like uniform width, and I'm like man, you're a motorsports fan, huh? like because I think motorsports seem to like really do that a lot, where like the road is like constant width. And I'm just like, bro, this is like, you don't have to limit yourself like that. You can make the width like change however you want to meet the needs of the track and like meet the needs of the section. So I don't really care to make the road width like super uniform, like bro, like what I care about is like how you drive, right? You know, changing the road, like you can on uniform road width, it makes things a lot easier to like sketch out, and so like a lot easier, like it's one less variable to like take into account while making roads and stuff. So like it helps lower your cognitive load, but you're also limiting yourself. You're removing one option that you could be using to make better tracks, right? So yeah. So like some TT tracks I've been recently working on, I've like actually just like have a big plate of blue ice. Like I just like have a giant slab of blue ice, and I just like place like blocks, like red. Like I'm like, all right, so like, I want like an S section, so I'm gonna like do like this, and then I go like this, and then like I try driving it. I'm like, no, I don't like that. Let me maybe like move it a little more forward, right? And then I try it again. And then eventually I make something I like. I'm like, okay, let's remove all this excess blue ice and like maybe like, you know, make the road something like something like this. Like I guess, and then like, you know, I tune it up a little bit to make it like better or whatever. And I remove all the extra blue ice, and like that's how I make the road, right? Like that's one example. Like I've been doing that a lot recently. For like TT tracks I've been helping make and stuff. But yeah. Yeah, so that's how like I make the road itself. I haven't used Terrastic in such a long time, other than WLC. Because it's like goaded for WLC, you just fly wherever, it's like super fast and easy. Like, rolled it, brush sill, and Axiom stuff, and like, nothing else you can compare, honestly, to Terrastic for WLC. And it is kind of nice. It's a nice tool to have, just like to be able to quickly fly around and like sketch something out. But it isn't something I've used that much recently. In the past, like at least a year, if not more. But yeah, alright, I think that's about it. Again, I hope that answers the question. I hope that was entertaining to watch. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Bye bye.